Good morning. I'm Christelle Hamouche, clinical psychologist at DPRC. Today, I will be talking about the fourth and the last part of Code of Conduct. It's the principle of integrity in the conduct of business. I will be talking also about the questions in case of doubt, who would you contact in case of doubt, violation management, and finally, the results and decisions. Concerning the principles, integrity in the conduct of business. Principle 10. Bribery consists in promising, offering, giving active corruption, soliciting or accepting passive corruption, directly or indirectly, through a third party or an intermediary, an undue advantage, financial or otherwise, so that a person, public or private, performs, refrains from performing, delays or accelerates the performance of an act and the performance of his duties, or in violation of his responsibilities, legal, contractual, or professional obligations. Influence peddling consists in soliciting or accepting an undue advantage in order to use his influence, real or supposed, to obtain distinctions, jobs, contracts, or any other favorable decision from a public authority or administration. Facilitation payments are small sums of money paid to public officials to expedite administrative procedures. Gifts, invitations, given and received can be a vehicle for corruption or influence peddling if misused. We pledge to take all measures to prevent any act of corruption and to prevent any conflict of interest whenever an employee has personal interest that may conflict with the interest of our peer. Example 1. I need to get a building permit quickly so as not to delay the construction of a retirement home. The public official in charge of the case told me that if I pay him an amount of money, he could speed up the administrative process and issue me the building permit more quickly. Can I pay him this amount? No. Paying an amount of money to get administrative formalities done is a facilitation payment. This is a practice prohibited by the group and may be considered as corruption. Example 2. I have received a box of chocolates as a gift from a patient. Can I accept it? Yes, you can, if no commercial negotiation is in progress with the patient. Gifts, regardless of their value, should not be kept individually. Perishable gifts, for example, chocolates, food, flowers, etc., must be shared among the team or handed at the reception desk or doctor's room. Non-perishable gifts, like books, clothes, should be handed in for raffle. It is strictly forbidden to accept money or any material gift, except for those of a symbolic or promotional nature that bear the logo and name of the presenting party. Employees are encouraged to report any gift received to the administration office for further judgment. Employees should not take unfair advantage of any professional relationship or exploit others to further their personal, religious, political, business, interest, or sexuality. Employees must not engage in any improper relationship or behavior with patients, families, and support systems. Principle 11. Actively collaborating with public authorities. Comply with the regulations and decisions of these public authorities and consider the remarks, recommendations, and requests of our supervisory authorities as opportunities to strengthen, optimize our own audits, and continuously improve our performance. Ensure that all employees contribute to maintaining positive and trust-based relations with public authorities by cultivating a transparent, constructive, collaborative, and proactive dialogue with their representatives. Exercise the utmost vigilance with regard to compliance with all legal and regulatory provisions issued by the public authorities in all countries where the group is present. Ensure that decisions issued by public authorities are properly implemented. In the context of an unannounced inspection of my facility by a supervisory authority, I have been asked to provide a certain number of documents such as employees' diplomas, Should I withhold documents that I feel would harm the outcome of this audit for the facility? You are obliged to cooperate with the authorities in conjunction with your superiors. Thus, even if some documents seem potentially prejudicial, you are formally forbidden to evade or voluntarily destroy any document requested by the authorities. Keep in mind that an open and constructive dialogue is the best way to proceed. Principle 12. Respecting our suppliers, service providers, partners, and competitors. Suppliers, service providers, partners, and competitors must be treated fairly and equitably. Maintain the quality of relationships that are essential for sustained success. Ensure the integrity of our suppliers, partners, and service providers. Keep the confidentiality of the technical, commercial, and financial information communicated. Comply with the payment deadlines. Respect our commitment in terms of ethics, including the fight against corruption, money laundering, and terrorist financing, and social responsibility, including the environmental and social impact of the products and services offered. I am looking for a new supplier of office equipment and have identified two companies. The first offers good but expensive products, while the second's products are not as good but cheaper. Can I tell the firmer the prices of the latter to get an extra discount? In the interest of fairness and loyalty to suppliers, you may tell the first company that another supplier is offering more attractive rates, but you should never reveal the prices and identity of that service provider. Otherwise, you would be in breach of this code and the rules of competition law. Principle 13. Providing true, accurate, and fair information to our shareholders, investors, lenders, as well as to the public and preventing insider trading. Present true, accurate, precise, and fair financial information. Limit the communication of sensitive information to only those persons who strictly need it in the course of their duties. Cooperate with internal and external auditors. Alert our superiors and or the finance department in the event of the discovery of an inaccuracy in the accounting or financial information. While preparing a presentation of turnover indicators for the external auditors, I discovered an inaccuracy in a file. How do I react? It is very important to report such as an inaccuracy as soon as possible to your superior, who, if he or she confirms it, will pass it on the finance department so that the error can be corrected as quickly as possible and the regularity and fairness of the group's account can be re-established in consultation with external auditors. Principle 14. Using the resources made available by the group in an ethical and responsible manner. Ensure that everyone contributes to the respect and protection of the company's assets. Preserve a quality working environment. Fight against all forms of social abuse by implementing all prevention and detection measures. Use the equipment made available to us for strictly professional purposes. Take care of the materials and equipment provided as if they are your own. Report any damage, loss, or theft of equipment to the person in charge. All resources and documents belonging to DPRC must not be land transferred or disposed without permission. Security safety items, official badges, and all such items are the property of DPRC, and they shall be used by employees only in the context of performing their professional duties. Upon termination of employment, employees shall return all DPRC property in their possession and obtain a clearance certificate before the final release of dues and of service benefits. Should an employee cause deliberate damage to property under his control, he shall be liable to disciplinary actions that are up to the line managers and facility directorship judgment. Whenever necessary, the DPRC may deduct the cost of any items not returned from the employee's salary, entitlements, and of service gratuity. DPRC may also take all actions deemed appropriate to recover or protect its properties. Lockers are provided for staff for their belongings. but the center will not be held responsible for any losses. Staff are required to report any lost item in the PRC premises to Security Office. Example 1. My wife urgently needs to send her CV for a job and our printer is broken. Can I type it and print it at the office? Personal use of equipment provided is possible as long as it is exceptional, reasonable, and does not interfere with your professional activity done outside your working hours. In any case, you must notify your line manager. Example 2. I am organizing a birthday party for a friend, and I need lots of glasses, cutlery, and plates. We have too much of them in the facility, and I have easy access to them. Can I borrow them and bring them back after the party? No. This equipment is made available for professional use only in the operation of the facility and not for personal use. Even if you have access to them, you should not borrow them. Principle 15. Protecting the image and reputation of the group and the patients. Ensure that employees who express themselves on social networks on a topic directly or indirectly related to RPA do so in accordance with our values and do not provide confidential information that could damage the group's reputation. Inform the Human Resources Department about the event and the subject directly or indirectly related to RPA. Obtain prior authorization from patients, their families, and employees before any use of images, photos, videos. Employees are prohibited from making any social media posts related to DPRC activities on their personal pages. However, they are encouraged to post DPRC activities on DPRC official social media platforms. Employees are not allowed to communicate any internal documents, persons served, families, and support systems information on social media platforms, whether DPRC official page or on theirs. Posting any images taken in DPRC that includes the person served requires written approval from the relevant persons served, families, and support systems. Example 1. At the end of year party, I took photos of my colleagues in embarrassing situations. Can I share them on social networks with my friends via personal account? First of all, such photos should not be distributed without the prior consent of your colleagues. Even if such consent is obtained, the public nature of social network means that we prohibit any publication that would harm the image of the group's employees and, by extension, the group itself. Example 2. My manager made several remarks about my work that day, and I posted a message on my social media account quoting him to share the information with my friends. Among these friends, I also have some colleagues and ex-colleagues who have left the company. On reflection, I am afraid that my words would be spread. Was I wrong to share this information? Before you publish anything in writing, on social networks, and even internally, you should ask yourself whether you should be prepared to take responsibility for it if it becomes public. Indeed, what you publish on social networks no longer belongs to you, text, image, and can therefore be shared, republished, and even reposted on other media. Thus, you find yourself responsible for information that has become public. Principle 16, respecting the requirement of confidentiality in the handling of sensitive information. Communicate internal information only to those who have a legitimate need to know. Mark documents as confidential or internal use only whenever necessary. Inform our interlocutors orally during meetings about the confidential nature of the information and specifying that it should not be disseminated. Keep confidential information and data secure, whether in paper or digital format. Assess the level of confidentiality of information before any external transmission. Contact the custodian of the information in case of doubt, and resort to a confidentiality agreement whenever necessary. Example 1. I took part in a meeting where the internal speaker made it clear in the introduction that the content of the project and the discussions should remain confidential. There were many of us at the meeting, and I want to share the information with my team. Can I do this? No, you should first approach the person who specified that the information provided is confidential in order to verify that you can share it with your team, even if they will be involved later. Example 2. In the context of a new strategic project for the group, I have to contact various internal and external stakeholders. What information can I communicate to the various stakeholders? It is not necessary to communicate all information about the project to all stakeholders. You must identify the internal or external persons to whom all the information should be entrusted because they have a legitimate need to know it, and those to whom only that part of the information necessary for their mission should be communicated. In any case, you must use confidentiality agreements if the material is transmitted externally. The 5 questions in case of doubts. If you face a situation where you are unable to find an answer to your concern, we encourage you to systematically ask yourself 5 questions to adopt ethical and responsible behavior in all circumstances. Is it legal? Does it contradict the principles of the ethics and code of conduct? Could my action have a negative impact on patients, employees, and any other stakeholder, partner, supplier, community? Is my action guided by my personal interest? Would I be uncomfortable if my actions were made public, both internally and externally? Who do you contact in case of doubts? If one of your answers to these questions is yes, or if you have any doubts, you should immediately refer to the competent persons so that you can be assisted in your choices. Mrs. Nafali Karam, Human Resources. Ms. Zahra Al-Jabri, Quality Manager. The Ethics Committee members, Dr. Manoj, Physiatrist, Dr. Constantina, Physiatrist, Ms. Abir, Case Manager, me, Christelle, Clinical Psychologist, Mr. Muhammad, Occupational Therapist. It is the policy of the PRC that employees, volunteers, or other stakeholders must not participate in or contribute to any activity that may be considered fraud, abuse, waste of resources, or any other wrongdoing. It is always the principles of integrity, respect, and fairness that must guide the conduct of all of us. Violation management. DPRC shall endorse the role of Directorship and Governance Committee in managing any violation of the Code of Conduct and Ethics. The committee is comprised minimally of the line managers, healthcare quality manager, head of administration, and the facility director. The committee will receive the report, conduct the investigation, record the investigation, and provide feedback and follow-up as may be appropriate. No reprisal approach for personal reporting. DPRC should uphold a no reprisal approach for employees and volunteers in reporting suspected and or actual incidents of questionable activities and practices within the organization. A no reprisal approach simply means that employees shall not be subject to any retaliation, penalties, discrimination, confrontation, or any other type of consequences for making a report. Any staff member may report a violation of the Code of Conduct and Ethics verbally to the line manager. However, an incident report must be completed and submitted email to the line manager and healthcare quality manager as per the incident reporting and management policy and any amended policy or temporary protocol for reporting. All staff are encouraged to report the incident, adverse events, errors, near misses, frauds, or any other wrongdoing events within 48 hours. Reports will still be accepted if they are submitted later than 48 hours to the occurrence. The Directorship and Governance Committee will investigate the report within 5 working days of receiving the report and complete the investigation with a final report completed within 15 days and submitted to the healthcare quality manager to facilitate and approve the recommendations of the committee, which may include training, supervision, and or disciplinary action. And finally, the results and decisions. The committee will consider the following as infractions of rules of conduct that may result in disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment, theft or inappropriate removal of or possession of the property, falsification of timekeeping records, working under the influence of alcohol or illegal drugs, fighting or threatening violence in the workplace, noisy or disruptive activity in the workplace, negligence or improper conduct leading to damage of employer-owned or patient-owned property, insubordination or other disrespectful conduct, severe, unjustified, reckless violation of safety or health rules, excessive absenteeism or any absence without notice, unauthorized disclosure of business secrets or confidential information, unsatisfactory performance or conduct. The committee will maintain a log of all relevant investigations and report the legal violation to the DHA Quality Department and other local legal authorities, and other events will be reported quarterly in ORPIA's quarterly quality operation meeting. The committee will create a separate file for the investigation, which includes the complaint, the report of investigation. The healthcare quality manager will report to the committee meeting on a biannual basis for analysis on code of ethics violations and or trends and patterns. Thank you.